Hello viewers and welcome to today's video. Gine Kachuku is my name. Ever since the 2008 financial crisis here in the UK, the cost of living has gone so bad. I have heard this saying over and over and over again. In fact, when I moved into this country, I know I'm beginning to sound like a broken record anytime I come here and say my family and I moved over to the UK 2 years ago. But seriously, 2 years ago or over 2 years ago when we moved into this country, coming from Nigeria, where we were already experiencing inflation in a very high rate, I felt the cost of living here was still okay. I mean, judging from the fact that we could still see something to save when we were still depending on just my husband's source of income. So I felt it was still good, especially because, I mean, we're coming from Nigeria and my husband's source of income alone could not even take him home. Having lived there for over 2 years, I'm beginning to see the rising cost of living year in, year out. For example, my family and I used to spend about £150 roughly monthly on feeding when we newly came. Well, I could say that because we came with some of our Nigerian things, we were able to keep our monthly feeding spendings pretty low. But ever since we have to depend mostly on the stores here, even for our African food, we have been spending above £350 a month. Following the recent increase in the ILR application fee, which is about £3,226 at the moment per person, which means a family of 4 that will be making the ILR application in this year, 2026, will be spending over £12,000 for their indefinite leave to remain, which is the ILR. This does not bother me at the moment because my family and I still have a little long way to go. But I have started preparing my mind towards it, and this was exactly what we did when we came newly. This would be a good time for me to say a very special thank you to YouTubers that have been vulnerable with your content, letting us into the reality of what it means like living in this country as a migrant in the first few years. Talking about this rising cost of living and how it affects we migrants, this is what I'm going to be breaking down in today's video. We came in with a 2 years visa, and from the very go, we prepared our mind towards when we will be renewing our visa. So we had a clear-cut idea of how many years visa we would like to renew and how much this was going to cost us. Remember that it was my husband's lecturing job that brought us over to this country. And because his job is not categorized as a health role, the implication is that for any time we will be renewing our visa, we need to pay IHS fee. As adult, as at then, it was going to cost us £1,035 per adult per year multiplied by 4. And then for children was around £775. I can't remember the exact figure, but I'm going to put it somewhere in this video. Because we had in mind to renew a 4-year visa, we knew that we needed to have for the visa fee over £1,800. Again, I'm not sure about the figure, but I'm going to put the correct figure. And the visa application fee was the same for both children and adults. So from the very first month that we moved in, after my husband received his first paycheck, which I know I made a video talking about my expectation from my husband's salary, because on paper back home in Nigeria that money seemed big, but when we came over and we started spending, then we paid our first month's bill with what was left. We're like, so this money is not even big after all. We knew that we needed to do something quick, and that would mean that I have to get a job as well to be able to support the family's savings so that we can be able to save up enough money before the 2 years window that we will be due to renew our IHS. So that was what led to me landing the first role, which was as a student supervisor, then me pivoting now to going into teaching, which is what I've always, or we have both always wanted me to do. I'm saying this to say that, you see, yes, the cost of living in the UK is quite high. I've witnessed it firsthand. But then again, it's a structured system in the sense that you could plan your life ahead. It just comes at a cost. I've been making a lot of videos saying our minimalistic lifestyle here in the video because I love vlogs. It is really minimalistic because saving up for your IHS visa application and everything actually comes with a cost. It means we are depriving ourselves of so many luxuries. I'm not even going to say luxuries because these are basics here. For example, we've not gone on any vacation because we can't afford to do so. So yes, I know some people say those of us that migrate over to the UK, we come in and become a slave for the first 5 years. While I'm not a slave to anybody, I understand what that school of thought means, because to be fair, the first 5 years, for some of us, because I know this is not everybody's reality, for some of us, especially those of us that we are still, I don't want to say average, we're not even up to the average class, because we came here and we started from the scratch, the basis. Then I might as well point out that you people know that lecturing is lecturing everywhere. It's not as if the money is one substantial money like people that are into tech, IT and stuff like that. So I know that for some people in this country, they are not in the lower band salary scale like we are, so they may not have to give up some of their basic things to be able to save up this money. What is the general reality of most migrants, which is how do you start and how do you save up money to be able to, do most of these things? You're not able to live the kind of comfortable life which your salary you're being paid for should actually be catering to. And this is what moves a lot of us to go ahead and look for side hustle, start selling something, start creating content to be able to augment. Because the first 5 years, when you're able to renew your visa and you're like, oh, thank God I've renewed my visa, and you think that is the end of your challenge, nope, that is not actually the end. It's almost as if you just finished one and then you're starting another batch of savings for another, and which is the ILR, the indefinite leave to remain. So you see why I said I understand when people say, oh, it's like you're just a slave, you're working for the government, and you're not able to enjoy the benefits of being in this country. If it was my British counterpart, for example, that have been able to save up over £24,000, they might probably be talking about getting on a mortgage to get their first property or something like that. We couldn't just take that decision because we know we have to first of all renew our visas to be able to stay in this country before we now start thinking of, okay, are we able to save up and get a mortgage, or are we able to save up and, do any other major expenses? So recently, I've been hearing people say, oh, do not come to the UK, do not come to the UK. The UK there's nothing in it anymore. You're just going to be working and saving up and then giving it back to the government. And yes, with what I have just described my situation, I agree. But for somebody like me, coming from where I'm coming from, and then coming over to the UK and being able to save up to be able to renew my family, as a family, as a team, my husband and I, to be able to renew our visas without getting any external support. If you ask me again, is it worth it? For somebody in my shoe, with my own experience, I'm still going to tell you, yes, it is worth it. That whatever it is that made you to be able to save this kind of money, because if I was back home, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not sure if I would have been able to save this kind of money. But if it was a lecturing role my husband was in, and I also got on the lecturing role, of course, I wouldn't have been able to save this money. So I'm saying that for somebody like us, I would still say in the end, it is worth it. That the roughest years are usually at the early years. Like my pastor will say, it gets better. That you have experienced the roughness at the beginning, so it gets better. And I'm also a living witness to that. It gets better because I think in the first year when we came in, we were not even talking about car. Well, not just because we couldn't afford it, but it wasn't a need for us. It wasn't a need genuinely for us. But after we saw our first year savings, in fact, even me, when I saw our first year savings, I was like, only we are very prudent. We tried. How did we do it? God really helped us, We then knew how much we were able to save, like comfortably in a month. That was when we started funding some of our basic needs, like getting a car, even though we don't need it, but let's just get a car. Because we knew that before the 2 years time duration when we will be renewing the visa comes, we will be able to save. So again, all this thing is subject to when you have a steady source of income in terms of a job or maybe a business. It was when we already saw where we were heading to, we could now begin to fund some of our basic needs. Yeah. So if you're still thinking about coming over to the UK, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. I'm going to say it's still worth it. Well, depending on the route you are coming over with, because I know some people have always said in my video, oh, it's because you came in as skilled worker, you can't relate, you can't understand. True, maybe not. I honestly do not know. But the bottom line is, living in the UK actually is expensive, but will your salary take care of your needs? Yes, it will. Imagine for the same ILR that is going to cost my family of four over £12,000. I'm not even putting my mind in the current £12,000 because the 3,226 is what it is now. By the time we will be due, I know the price would have gone up. Like, cost of living here, it's like it's every year things are adding money. Groceries have added money. Now, this reminds me, by this time last year, while we were about to renew our visa, we just decided to just shop around to look at the prices of housing here, like, let's just see what the market looks like. And we saw some properties here in Leeds that were going for like £282,000. That's just as an example. But by this year, those same properties, not in Leeds, outside Leeds, like in the outskirts, suburb areas, are even going for much more than they were going for in Leeds. They are going for like over £300,000. And that's to tell you, like, the cost of living every year keeps skyrocketing. And even we had the money to be able to afford getting on the property ladder last year, we would have grabbed the offer because Imagine 282,000 in lease and that same property outside Leeds in a borough going for £300,000. That's saying that the value of your money is depreciating over the year. Like, if you don't quickly invest that money or use it up for something substantial. This is a structured environment, and as long as you have a steady source of income, and as long as you're able to, keep your lifestyle normal. I'm not going to use the word minimal because the basis for me is food. Once I eat, I'm okay, and I'm able to coach the children. I'm okay for me. With that, you can still be able to save up and save up and save up, and still eventually be able to live the luxury of life, your dream life, if that makes sense. I've been seeing videos trending, bank manager in Nigeria and now coming over to the UK to come and do care job. I mean, there's no right or wrong role or career or whatever. Everybody know the reason why they jackpot in the first place. You all know, and whatever be your reason, as long as it's valid, as long as it's you, as long as you're happy, as long as the Lord is leading you, why not? There's no country that don't have immigration issues at the moment. However it is that you are convinced or led to go to, but if it's still going to be this United Kingdom and you have a good route of coming over, yes, in the long run, it's still worth it. I hope you found value in today's video. Please share with me your thoughts in the comment section. For those of you living in the UK, do you feel it's still overrated? Do you feel it has casted? Do you feel it's still worth coming into? Or do you think, no, UK is cancelled, UK is banned? Ban UK, cancel it, and don't come over to the UK. I look forward to reading your comments in the comment section, but down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to give this video a like. Please like my video. I'll see you all in my vlog, maybe, or in another sit down video. Who knows? Bye.